This week, the Washington State Supreme Court heard the case of a Christian florist who declined to provide flowers for a gay wedding. Joining me now is Baronelle Stutzman, owner of the flower shop on trial, and Carrie Kupek, one of her lawyers from the Alliance Defending Freedom. The first question I have is for both of you. How did the oral arguments go yesterday?
Well, I thought they were pretty interesting. The heart of the case is this. Should creative professionals and artists like Baronelle be forced by the government to create custom work for a religious ceremony that specifically violates their religious beliefs under threat of severe punishment? So we saw a lot of talk about what it means to create expression and to speak and to exercise one's religion under the First Amendment.
Mm-hmm. So what's next after yesterday's hearing?
So we're waiting to see what the Washington State Supreme Court decides to do. Obviously, we are hopeful for a decision that affirms Baronelle's freedom under the Constitution and First Amendment to create expression that is consistent with her convictions. Because let's not forget what we're talking about here. Baronelle, in taking this stand that she's taking, has everything on the line. The Attorney General in Washington State has taken unprecedented action against Baronelle, and she is being sued both professionally and personally. And that means simply that if Baronelle loses her case, she could lose her home, her life savings, her retirement, in addition to her business that we're sitting in right now. So there's a lot at stake, not just for Baronelle, but for all Americans who care about freedom and are concerned about government oppression.
Mm-hmm. So as you just mentioned, your flower shop has been able to remain open throughout all of this. Baronelle, have you experienced any threats because of what's going on?
Yes, we've had death threats, picketing threats, computer threats. We've had to get a security system. I had to change the way I go to work and come home. We've had to notify the police and to keep close watch on us. So yes, we have had threats.
Well, I saw a picture yesterday from outside the courthouse where it looked like a lot of people showed up to support you. How did that feel?
It was amazing. I mean, and I'm so happy it didn't rain because I didn't want people standing out in the rain. But the turnout was absolutely, amazing is all I can say. I was overwhelmed, and I am so grateful that people took the time to show up.
Mm-hmm. And the couple suing you was your customer for 9 years. Were you surprised they took legal action against you?
Yes, actually, the Attorney General took the first legal action, and then the ACLU got a hold of Rob and Kurt, and then they followed suit. But yes, I was surprised because when Rob left the shop, we hugged each other and left as friends, and we didn't think there was a problem. Mm-hmm. Rob's been a customer for 10 years.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking for Baronelle to faithfully serve this gentleman for 10 years, and Baronelle often talks about what their relationship was like.
Yeah, he was great to work with, and he had a creative mind, and he would come in and get vases and containers and ask me to create something that was special for an event. And I loved doing it, and he loved my arrangements.
Mm-hmm. So before this went to trial, did they give you any options for a settlement, or why did you decide to fight this case?
Because my freedom's not for sale, and the government was basically telling me to choose between my faith or my expression, or I would be destroyed. I mean, they were not giving me an option. They gave me a fine and told me I had to do same-sex weddings. But it wasn't a settlement, it was an ultimatum.
And I think, Abby, it's important to remember, too, the implications for this particular case. And this was something discussed at length at yesterday's arguments. And that's, regardless of where you stand on the issue of marriage, this is so far-reaching. Should an atheist singer be forced to perform an Easter worship service? Should, say, a Muslim painter be forced to paint a mural that a religious customer is asking for that depicts Muhammad, say, as not a sacred prophet as taught by the Quran? And this was something discussed at length yesterday at the arguments. And in fact, the Washington State Attorney General basically said, you know what? It doesn't really matter whether it's custom floral design or whether it's a custom poem written by an author. Free speech rights essentially go out the window in the context of these laws. And not only is that unconstitutional, but that's scary for all Americans who cherish our freedom to be able to speak and express and create peacefully, consistent with our convictions and our conscience.
Hmm. So how do both of you feel after yesterday, and is there anything specific you'd like prayer for throughout this case?
Well, I always ask for a prayer for Rob and Kurt. You never know what the Lord's going to do. But the people just start standing up, realizing, whether you're religious or not, our freedom of speech and expression is at stake, and for all of us, not just for me. So don't think this will not happen to you. It's me today, but it could be you tomorrow.
Hmm. Well, Baronel Stutzman and Carrie Kupek, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.